Okay, we are recording. Scott, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm all right, I think. Yeah, not bad. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. Yeah, I'm not too bad. I had my booster jab this morning, so I'm feeling a little spaced, but yeah, like not too bad. Whereabouts are you today?
I'm at home in Brighton.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah,
Lovely.
I was just trying to on the booster jab front. I was just trying to get mine actually, but it's after Christmas now.
Do you know what? Like, I mean, this is probably not the most riveting of conversations for the listeners, but I just took my daughter to get her first jab, and I was like, "Can I have mine, like my booster?" And they were like, "Yeah, if you want." I was like, "I'm there, all right then." So yeah, just sort of stumbled into a booster this afternoon, but yeah, so just wondering out.
I've took someone else's appointment.
Probably.
I'm just gonna go down the queue and try and make friends with someone near the front.
Oh god, I'm just a really bad feeling there. About 10 o'clock tonight when they shut, there's just a really vulnerable old man just outside, like just thinking, "Oh, there I was definitely booked in. Someone must have had me jab." All right. Well, look, let's start the playlist. And Scott, I'm going to ask you for track one, please, to tell me the song that you regard as having the greatest ever intro, please.
Okay, yeah. I think this is a good choice. I don't know. I'm doubting some of my choices already.
Okay.
It's actually a good one. It sprang to mind when I, read the question, and I hadn't heard it for a long time. And then I listened to it today. I ended up listening to it about 5 times in a row. It's so good. But it's Two Tribes Go to War by Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, it's maybe not the most sort of clever musical thing ever. I don't know. Cool. Maybe it is cool. I don't know. But particularly on the video version, you get the bonus bit where what does they say? They say something about an air attack. An air attack warning sounds like this. And then comes in on the piano with a siren. And then it sort of goes all Russian, sort of glamorous choir and drums, which is all really good. Then it comes in with the electro bit, and it's just like, oh yeah, it sounds a bit like Yellow or something to me. Like waiting for a chicka chicka. It's really good. Yeah, so it didn't disappoint. The memory of it was, I didn't remember all the bits that well, and then I listened to it, I was blown away again. Then I watched it with the video, and I thought, this is one of the best videos ever made.
Yeah, I'm 48, so I kind of remember Two Tribes was the first song that terrified me.
Yeah,
because it was around the time of like Threads and all of this kind of hysteria. And just hearing it, I just thought, oh God, my mum and dad are going to get blown up. I'm never going to. And it was the end. And it was so terrifying. And obviously they dropped Relax before that. And obviously the furore that come around that record as well. And, I remember sort of hearing that as a kid and just thinking, what's the problem? They're just guys wanting to relax. Like, surely that's got to be a good thing, right?
Just chill out a bit,
But I think
that's what I mean, because it's like, I don't know, they're not usual song sort of content, is it really? Like, lyrically and whatever.
Yeah.
But it sounds so much fun, doesn't it? In the song, without it really being a piss take, it just sounds like it doesn't sound like, oh, I'm going to make a serious point now, which is, I think that's a good thing. Yeah.
And they looked great as well. Like Holly Johnson, like you see them sort of top of the pops performances, and he looked a bit scary. He looked terrifying. And there was like I can't remember that. Was it Paul, the guy next to him that always had the kind of biker hat and the moustache? Like they looked like a band. They looked like they meant something, and it was just so, for me at that time, so hard sounding. Like, do you know what I mean? That production, that Trevor Horn production, that he's the same on Relax as well. It's a proper smack in the chops.
Yeah, well, he's very good, isn't he, Trevor Horn? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about what you were saying about Threads, actually. Then that brought back memories. I remember. I think I saw it. I don't know if I saw it the first time it was out or was it repeated a year or two later. But I was pretty young.
Yeah.
Because I'm almost as old as you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, 46 now. So I think I was less than, what would I have been, 10? So when was it? I don't know, was it mid-80s or?
Oh, maybe I would say I would say 83 springs to mind. 83, 84.
8.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember because people were like melting, weren't they?
Yeah, great age to watch Threads, 8.
Yeah. No, but it scared me a bit as well because I used to sort of, for a long time after that, I'd come up with survival plans. Like riding home from school on my bike, I'd be thinking, where could you hide and how many tins of soup would you need?
If I get there in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. So was there any other kind of honourable mentions that almost made it for this one?
Yeah, I think that was. So I almost went for a couple of real, they don't even sound impressive, but Heart of Gold by Neil Young. It's really short and it's not much happens.
Yeah.
It's just the sort of basic riff and the drums, but it just feels so good. Like, I don't know, it's just amazing. And it doesn't even last long. And then the other one I almost went for was Sound and Vision.
Yeah.
Bowie, of course, because that's weird. I'm sure. Have you had that chosen before?
No.
I thought it would have been multiple.
It's the most chosen one. Actually got chosen twice last week. Was "Let's Go Crazy" by Prince. Okay. That's the one that's been chosen the most in the 300 and however many episodes of this podcast have been recorded now. But Sound and Vision's a beaut, isn't it? And it's that kind of, you're just waiting for that little synth payoff, aren't you? When that comes in, oh.
Well, it's like you keep thinking it's going to start, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, obviously not after a few goes, but. And then I checked it out and it's a 3-minute song and half of it is the intro.
Yeah.
And then it just it fades out, I think, or something. So it's like, how strange is that? I mean, I like it when people do slightly weird things with their, they still manage to make a pop song or something, but they don't, follow the rules. So
would you put yourself in that bracket? Because looking at trends in music, and I've had so many sort of songwriters and producers on here, and I'm always fascinated. And when I watch my own children go through their music and seeing how quick their thumbs move, and these attention spans seem to be getting shorter. Like, does any of that, of like straight in, let's grab them like as soon as we can with a single or with a track? Does any of that ever sort of filter into your kind of creative process, like when you're writing?
I don't think it does really, no. I mean, perhaps it should. I mean, we probably do better. No, you meant to start with the singing, aren't you, now? Straight in with the vocal, if possible. Or maybe a weird noise first. But, no, I don't think it does really. The only time it plays a bit of a role is when it comes down to, like, people start having chats about what your single should be, maybe.
Yeah.
And can you make the start a bit shorter? But that's almost like it was about 10, 15, 20 years ago they used to do that. So I'd say we're well behind the times.
Yeah.
No, we're not really, we're not good at that sort of business thinking.
Well,
or being on trend.
Yeah, but trends come and go, right? Style's consistent.
Wow.
There's a compliment in there, Scott.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's good.
For track 2, I'm going to ask you to tell me the first song you remember hearing that had an emotional impact on you, please, mate.
Okay. this was a weird one because I didn't think I don't know where this came from really, because it's not something I've thought about before.
Mm-hmm.
But I started thinking, what was it? And I thought about songs like me and Neil Hamilton, who's in the band, my brother. We used to go to jumble sales in the village and like buy bundles of 7 inches and albums and stuff, or bid on them in the jumble sale auction. And some of those I remember, and I was thinking like made an impact, or it's got to be a really good song, or something that formed my musical thinking or something like that. But I thought, well, emotions aren't all just good, are they? It's a mixture of things. And this one came to mind, and it's Pennies from Heaven. Well, no, this is from the TV series Pennies from Heaven, but the song is Cheek to Cheek by Irving Berlin. And I think the music is really powerful. It reminds me of in the old days, you used to have Sundays where it was really boring, especially if you couldn't get out. It was just like time would last infinitely long. Like it just felt like forever, and you just think, oh my God. So it was a bit sad like that, but at the same time, it's a really upbeat, dreamy, romantic song. And it used to come on, and it was on, when I heard it, it was from the TV show Pennies from Heaven, which Bob Hoskins was in. And my dad liked that show. He was into 30s music and stuff. And the show had a similar mood. It was quite surreal though. It was like a drama. Occasionally they'd all burst into song. That sort of thing didn't really happen very often in their shows, so it was quite strange, surreal, a bit David Lynch in a weird way.
Yeah.
And I used to, and also there was a slightly like really repressed sexual element to the show. And being very young, I probably thought, oh, well, what's going on here? So all those things together, combined mostly with that weird sort of impossible romantic dreaminess, it made some kind of weird impression on me.
What would that emotion have been
then? It's sort of sad, but at the same time, it's sort of optimistic in an unrealistic way with a dark undertone, something like that. I don't know.
And so where was you around then? Where was growing up?
So it was Nutland in Cumbria, which is like a village of maybe 200 houses, something like that. There wasn't much there. There was a church, a post office, and a pub about 4 miles away, near Kendal, which is a bit more famous. Mm-hmm. So it's the middle of nowhere in the Lake District, like a beautiful place, but not a lot going on. And sort of watching bits of it. You weren't really meant to watch it because it did have slightly adult bits in it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I just had to go out of the room or what. It was on VHS. And also my mum hated the show. So that was a weird dynamic as well.
Aside from
it's getting a bit I feel like I'm on the couch all this.
Well, aside from the sort of the VHSs that were floating about, in a small sort of village in the lakes, like was there music on at home? Was it a musical house? Yeah,
it was very good. Well, so I've got a big family really, because I'm second youngest, and my oldest brother Roy is, well, there's 6 of us, like 4 brothers and a sister. So he's a fair bit older than me, and he was a massive music fan. So there was that angle of it where, he became a music journalist. He used to send packages home to me and Neil, I think trying to influence us, which possibly was a successful kind of plan, But at the same time, my dad was also into music, classical 30s big band and jazz and a variety of fairly serious music in a way. So there was that versus sort of sub pop or Sonic Youth or Butthole Surfers or Pixies.
That's what your brother was sending you back.
Yeah,
how great's that?
Yeah, I know, that's a weird thing because you're in a sort of place where no one's ever heard of most of these bands, and you're maybe 8, 7, 8, 9, 10, going through to teenage, and you're listening to, like, without really finding it, like Julian Cope or, I don't know, Pale Fountains or, the whole, like a record collection of like maybe 1,000 records or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're taking it all for granted in a way. You think that's what everyone's listening to. Yeah. So it's real nice,
Yeah, that's so lucky. Track 3, the song that reminds you of your time at school, please.
So I went for Metal Mickey by Suede. I'm thinking because like school, it's a long time. So I went for sort of, I'm 16, 17. Suede. I mean, they were one of the, started to find some music for myself by that point. I hadn't strayed that far from this other stuff, but it was, quality indie music made by weirdos. And it was one of those things where people started having like 17th, 18th sort of birthday parties in the John Boss Social Club. And there'd be a lot of, popular music played, and then they'd have a little alternative section, and you'd get like the Levelers, and, Wonder Stuff, things like that, which, I'm not, they're all right, but I like the slightly more alternative stuff. And then Suede or Nirvana had come on, and people would headbang to Suede.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's a thing, but that was what you did if you were alternative. You used to headbang.
Did you get to see Suede them early days?
Yeah, I did. I saw them second album. It was I think it was the second gig I ever saw, proper gig. The first being Iggy Pop.
It's a good place to start.
Yeah, I mean, that was one where I didn't really know who it was, but yeah, again, Roy had taken us on a day out of a cultural influence, to a young mind sort of thing. Like, have a look at this. This is weird.
Oh, mate. I wish I had a Roy.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good fella. He's clever. I mean, he helped get the band together, so I don't know if this was a long-term strategy he had, because he failed to get his own band together.
Yeah.
So he deployed his younger brothers.
I actually saw Suede about 3 weeks ago. They played Ali Pali because it was the anniversary of coming up. And obviously they played that, and then they come back on and played, all the stuff from all the hits from the first albums and a couple of sort of fan favorites. And I was lucky to see him on the when the first album come out, and I remember the excitement around Suede, and it felt, because you mentioned like Sub Pop and stuff like that. In them kind of 91, 92, everything was so stateside. It was, everybody was looking over to Seattle and everywhere else to for the biggest kind of guitar music, and then it screamed London as well, didn't it? Like Suede, and it was just like, it was Seedy, it was Bowie, it was Morrissey, it was so much kind of exciting stuff going on with them. And oh man, I've seen them early shows, so they were absolutely like fantastic. He was such a good frontman, and to see them, I've not seen them for years and years and years, and I thought, oh, do you know what? I'll go and watch him. And his performance, like, he was absolutely incredible, Brett Anderson, on stage. He's just such a front man, like really, really good. His voice was incredible as well.
I've seen him with Bernard Butler, I guess, then the first time.
I did, yeah, a couple of times.
He just left when I saw them, so I didn't, I thought he was amazing. So I was a bit like, gutted that I didn't see them with him playing.
Yeah,
but it was still really good. Then I did actually see, we supported them at What's the park in London where you can go swimming outside?
Victoria Park?
I don't know. Whichever one that is. Hey, Hampstead, is it?
Hampstead Heath is where, yeah.
Yeah, they did a show there and we played with them. Yeah, he came and he did a really gentlemanly hello. Like a bit before the show sort of thing, came and introduced himself, hello. And we came in and we were all like, just like, the opposite, really. We were all sprawled around, sort of doing something really stupid, and I just felt really embarrassed afterwards because Brett Anderson came in. He was all, tall and skinny in a well-pressed shirt, looking handsome and cool. He came in, and we were just sort of, I don't know, like swinging some whiskey and falling over. And I thought, oh well, but it's a nice thing. People don't do that very much,
It's nice to be nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
How was school?
School? I don't know. It was a mixture of things, isn't it, really? I mean...
You enjoy it?
I enjoyed bits of it, yeah. I mean, overall, it was... Yeah, I mean, there's some great things about it, yeah. I mean, you make some great friends and all that kind of thing. I always felt a bit slightly weird at school. I think we weren't socialised that well as young children, and just felt slightly like, oh, it's a bit weird fitting in here. But then as you got through it and you got older, that sort of became quite a good thing. I just remember sort of weird things like riding to school on like a girl's bicycle and thinking how uncool it, like everything's really embarrassing, isn't it? When you,
of course it is, yeah.
Like if you have something properly embarrassing, it's actually like unbearably embarrassing. Now you call it, look at that cool kid on a girl's bicycle. Yeah, so I don't know. It was sort of traumatic, yet pretty good. I mean, I did quite well at school, so it wasn't like I did quite well until I almost got thrown out. But that's a long story.
Did you know what you wanted to be?
What did I want to be? I think there was a bit of me. I didn't have that much musical skill. Like I'd started to try and play guitar a bit, but I did still think I could probably do this somehow. And I tried to make a band with like my best mate. We had one rehearsal in the music room after school one day and played Psycho Killer by Talking Heads. And I chose that one. He chose a song by The Cure. And we did them pretty badly, just the two of us. And that was that.
Did the band have a name?
No, we didn't even get that far, really.
Yeah.
But he was one of the... So I remember, like, I think this was a thing, and that wasn't just our school, but you'd have pencil cases and you'd write bands and musicians and things you liked on them.
Yeah, always. And on school bags as well.
Yeah. So I had like Pixies written on mine.
Yeah.
People didn't know that was a band even. So they're just like, why do you really like Pixies? Like, Little People or whatever. Or Julie and Cope. And they'd be like, that sounds like a girl. Up until you get to sixth form, and then suddenly everyone starts discovering music and whatever. Yeah, so I think I thought I wanted to either be a musician or a painter. That was
either of sort of those subjects encouraged at your school?
I had a really good art teacher, but music wasn't really a thing. You could learn trumpet or something.
Yeah.
Be in the orchestra. I didn't get. I don't know. I think I got asked to be. You got selected, and you could like choose an instrument, and I did it, but then we couldn't afford a violin. Music or painting is the thing.
Okay, for track 4, I'm going to ask you to tell me the first song that you remember buying from a record shop.
All right, so this is Loser by Beck, which technically I didn't buy because it was one of the few things I've ever stolen in my life, and it was from Woolworths. But I couldn't. The only other thing I could remember buying was Nevermind, but that's an album, so I didn't think that counted.
Just to talk about Nevermind, reason being, I went for a run about a week ago and I just put it on, and it's one of them records that I've just, as DJ'd in indie clubs for the last 35 years, like I've just one of them things. I never think I'm going to sit and listen to Nirvana. It's like, it's just, I've played it so much over the years, and I just put it on, and you know, talking about like hooks and grabbing people at the beginning of records and things like that. I just listened to Nevermind from start to finish for the first time probably since it come out.
Yeah,
it's a absolute cracker.
It sounds better in a club, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, there's something weird when you listen to something in public, isn't there? That's different.
Yeah.
And I know what you mean there. I think, yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, suddenly it seems like, I mean, they've never been unpopular, have they, Nirvana? But it suddenly seems like they're actually getting more credit than ever.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's an age thing, but I think it's, yeah, the production's really clever, although you don't notice it in a way. But then I think...
Are you a fan of the production? Because I remember, like, Kurt wasn't. I actually I had Butch Vig on this podcast, and we spoke at length about the sort of production on Nevermind. I like it. I think it's got a really nice kind of sort of pop sheen to it. Yeah. What's your thoughts on it?
I like it. I mean, I think Dave Grohl was really good for them. You know, I'm not really a Foo Fighters fan and things like that, but I think his drumming on Nirvana was phenomenally, just his choices and the way he did it, energy and all that. But yeah, so I briefly had heard of Nirvana a little bit before they suddenly came along and went massive, and I'd heard like About a Girl and stuff on Sub Pop, and I liked them. They were quite different. Some of them were just like G and C, just like, and like you'd get some of that later. But yeah, and then suddenly it's like layers of guitar. But I thought it worked, you know. I thought it was powerful, and like the vocals sound really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I like it. Yeah, I don't mind a bit, you know, if it's done well.
Yeah.
It's weird how suddenly massive it was there.
Yeah, ridiculously massive. Beck, Loser.
Oh yeah, that was the song I actually. Yes, because I saw it. I was watching Top of the Pops.
Yeah.
And that was normally like, you know, there was some music I like now, which I used to hate in those days, and it was mostly that kind of music. And then you'd get something different like this on. And it was a really good song, like it was really good. But his band was made of like, on Top of the Pops, I don't think this was his touring band possibly, but they were all really like old dudes. Like there was a sort of like North American Indian on like a sitar or something, and like a sort of weird old drummer, and like an old guitarist with a white beard and all this. And then he looked really young and cool and whatever. And I just thought that's you know, just tickled me a bit, I guess. It's a really good song, isn't it? I mean,
did you stick with Beck? You're a fan?
I did for quite a while. Up until like being a student and stuff like that. I went to see him at that point actually, and he'd gone a little bit. He looked country and western by then and was playing harmonica. He was really good at harmonica actually. And then I've sort of tried to listen to him a little bit now and again, and I'm all right with it, but it doesn't grab me like some of those early ones. It's quite smooth, isn't it, and stuff now?
Yeah, yeah. What's that?
Like a Scientologist.
Yeah.
Isn't he? That's strange.
Yeah, that's really strange.
I don't know what to think about that.
No. I wish like there's lots of kind of artists that I really respect that every now and again you find out that and you think, oh, well, that sort of spoils it.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole Scientology is a whole thing, weird thing, isn't it?
Yeah, just a bit. Well, in regards to record shops, how important did they become for you as you got older, and as you know, as a musician now in 2020, probably two by the time this comes out, you know, what's your relationship with record stores now?
Now I don't really. I mean, record stores now, like the good ones, are things like Rough Trade and stuff,
Yeah.
aren't they? Or the good independent ones where you can sort of hang out a bit, find some good stuff.
Yeah. Do you still do that if you're out and about?
There's a couple in Brighton, but I don't really go out that into town very often.
Yeah.
I don't really, you know. So I sort of morally support them, but physically not so much.
Too much hard work nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I sort of miss the days where that was the thing. You know, that's where you'd go if you wanted your music, and you'd go and have a look and browse through the things. I like that. I think I could start doing it again. But, you know, you just get busy and lazy and stuff, and it's like 3 hours to go into town. You do it and it's brilliant, but then forget about it.
Was you more obsessive about it as a younger man?
A bit, but yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I mean, there were so many albums to discover just at home.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And they're all perfectly catalogued in, you know, pristine. There's little plastic sleeves on top and everything. But I mean,
you still got them?
No, they weren't mine. They weren't mine. That's the thing. I built up a bit of a record collection, and then about just over 10 years ago, I went away touring to America for 3 months, and there was a leak in the flat above where I lived.
Oh.
And they got soaked, and they were all warped, and all the cardboard was all soggy, and there was like thick mold growing over them. It was like a sort of vegetable almost.
Oh, that's not
put
fun.
me off. I've just started to get a few again recently, because I don't know, it put me off losing them all. It was psychologically a big blow.
Yeah, absolutely. Scott, tell me the song that soundtracked your year's clubbing, please.
I don't think I really had. I've got to say, preface this with, I was never really a clubber, to be honest. I mean, I'm talking about dance music clubbing.
Yeah, this can be your local sweaty indie night, and
there would have been indie nights. I was at Reading University, and it was either indie clubs or possibly there was a bit of a jungle thing going on.
Was it the Fez? Was that the
Fez? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember the name of the other one. So there was like I went to a few like dance stuff and that, but I never really got into it. I had a lot of friends who did it. I just like going, and then afterwards I like the afterwards bit late at night where you just be really lazy and a bit in a funny mood. So the thing that came to mind was like Happy Mondays, which was sort of in between those two worlds in a way, because it's, you know, it's all pilled up and it's on drugs and it's funky and fun, but it's also weirdly made by punky indie kind of people in a weird way. So that's what came to mind, and I don't know. I mean, they were around from when I was a teenager, and they would be played then, you know, even in small towns in discos and stuff.
What track you gone for?
I've gone for Step On.
Yeah.
It's just brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's an amazing song. The lyrics and everything are brilliant. Shaun Ryder's like so likable.
Yeah.
He could, you know, you might see him if you didn't know anything and think he was an idiot or something maybe, but he's phenomenally talented with his, like the way he delivers it and the actual words. And then then you've got Bez and a good band. I mean, I saw them not that long ago at Kendal Calling Festival, 3-4 years ago or something. and they had quite a lot of the band and Rowetta.
Mm-hmm.
And I was surprised how tight they were.
Yeah.
Like, how good it was watching Siders. I thought they'd be a fun, sloppy spectacle. And he did have a lot of screens with lyrics on around, placed, in all the monitors and stuff. But yeah, they were really good.
It's like I've had a few of them on the podcast, and they're all sort of saying that they're probably playing the best they've ever played now, because I guess they've all calmed down a hell of a lot from obviously the stories and obviously all the stuff that surrounded that band. He come and DJ'd at my club in Essex, and it really summed up like Shaun Ryder for me, that he was such a hero for me. Like, the Thrills Pills album and stuff like that was just massive and such a big record for me. And I was getting Shaun Ryder, this was probably maybe 12, 13 years ago, come to my club to DJ in Essex, and I was just like, I'm going to meet Shaun Ryder. This is going to be crazy. Like, and this tiny little fella kind of sort of wobbled into the DJ stand, and I was just like, oh, hello, Shaun. And he was like, all right. And then he had this like record box, and I thought, right, this is just got to be like some kind of like when they open the Ark, but it's just like Hacienda Royalty is going to be in there, like every possible, Weatherall remix is all going to be in here. And when he opened it, it was like a few CDs. One was like Classic Driving Gold, Free with a Sunday Express. I was like, fucking hell, what is going on? And I can't remember what I paid him. It was a few grand. And I went, right, it's my last song, Shaun. Like, you ready to go on? And he just went, yeah. And then he just gave me Classic Driving Gold, and he went, track 4. And I went, what about it? And he went, oh, I can't DJ. And I was like, all right, I'm paying you $2,000 for me to DJ for you. Oh, okay. And then someone come up to the DJ before, went to him, will you like just like if you stick on Step On, will you like maybe just give it a bit of Twisting My Melons over the mic or something like that? So he was like, yeah, I'll sing along. And I was like, right. And he kept saying, like, he was just putting these beers away, and he went, can you get me a beer? I went, yes. Yeah. So I gave him this bottle of Bud, and then he had the mic in the other hand, and I put on Step On, and he was going to be, Mike's fucked. And I was like, and I had to sort of go and swap his hands over because he was singing into the bottle of Bud. To which he was like, right. And then proceeded to sing Kinky Afro over Step On, which just sounded fucking surreal. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's the full Shaun Ryder experience you expect, isn't it?
Really good value to me.
It was wonderful.
That sounds better than your average DJ.
Okay, but I'm going to take you home for track 6. A favourite song from an artist from your home county, please.
Oh yeah, this is another difficult one.
What have you got to play with?
This is why it's difficult. Yeah, there's not a lot. There really isn't a lot to choose from, is there? There's a lot of folk bands who do weddings or blues covers.
Yeah,
it's like that. Oh, hang on. There's one proper band who, what are they called now? Who's a famous indie band who split up a few years ago? Do you know? Right, fairly famous.
From the Lake District?
Kendal, yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. I should be able to think of their name, but it's just... Anyway, that's bugging me now.
I'll have a look.
Yeah. But yeah, so I've gone for It Bites, Calling All the Heroes, which I can't say I know loads and loads about It Bites. But I did know the song, and they seem pretty cool. And also, they were voted the Cumbrian anthem by Radio Cumbria listeners, which tipped the balance for me. And I thought, well, better go with this now. But yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot to be said, but they're a fairly intelligent prog rock metal band, which is pretty weird, and they managed to make it a hit and come from Cumbria. So Egremont, I think.
I've only heard "Calling All the Heroes" by it. I'm just so I've also pulled up the Marillion.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Well, I'm sure Fish was from Scotland, but Steve Hogarth, apparently, who is the singer-songwriter, he's from there. There is a lot of blues and folk bands.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't really a artistic, cultural, musical hotspot.
Oh, some are Gang of Four.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. It's like, they've got a Cumbrian element.
Great name for an album.
Yeah. One of them left Cumbria early and went to Manchester or something.
Probably something loose like that. Well, for the last track, Scott, I'm going to ask you, you can play Tastemaker now, an influencer, and turn someone onto something new, because I'd like you to tell me a song that you think many people may not know that you would like them to hear.
Okay. So I almost chose, this is a tip off, but I didn't choose it, but I sort of wish I had, because I thought of it later. There's a new band called Demonic Fonts, which they're not very well known at all, so it would fit the question really well. Demonic Fonts, and they've got a song called Autumnal Fix, which is really good. But I didn't choose that one, and I went for Silver Jews, New Orleans, off their first album.
Yeah.
It came on the other day. So, like last year or so, I've had a lot of time to listen to music for a change, and I do it mostly in the shed while I'm painting. So I have hours of it to just listen to music without thinking about it too hard. And I'd been listening to Pavement a lot, and then a song by Silver Jews came on after a Pavement album had finished, and it reminded me I hadn't heard them for ages.
Yeah. Because he died during lockdown, didn't he?
Yeah, Dave Berman.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I did listen to that album a few times. I thought it was it Purple Mountains?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Really good, but it made me quite sad listening. Yeah. The more you listen to it and start thinking about what he's saying in the songs, and then the fact that he killed himself not long after, takes, I don't know, sort of makes it better, but takes the fun out of listening to it in a way, because you're thinking, this guy's having some issue. He's having a hard time, really hard time, singing about these things in a light-hearted, fun manner. It just makes you want to sort of cry a bit.
Did you hear the First Aid Kit song that they wrote for him, Strange Beauty?
No.
Oh, that's quite lovely.
Oh,
yeah. It's worth a listen. That's written about Dave. Yeah. So, was you a big fan of Silver Jews?
Yeah. I mean, I was a big Pavement fan, and
are you going to see them? Have they just played?
No, I thought. Oh, I hope I haven't missed them. I thought they were playing like middle or something of next year. Right.
Yeah. I just got a text saying, "Do you want to go and see Pavement?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, definitely."
Yeah, it's like Academy, isn't it? Like 4 nights or something.
Yeah.
Like fucking hell. Like, how did that happen? I mean, it should happen, but you think, well, I don't know. When I used to listen to them a long time ago, there's very few people who you'd meet every day who would have heard of them, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I mean, Silver Jews was the sort of, I thought it was a side thing for a long time, but then someone told me that it was almost started at the same time as Pavement.
Yeah.
and it's got it had like, was it Bob Nastan?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it had 2 members in it, didn't it? And then David Berman. I don't know who else was in it.
I'm not 100% sure either.
Yeah, and I always like the thing I read and reread today. It was like, they said, well, let's just make a band and we'll make it look like it's a proper CD, but it'll just be like the stupid songs we've recorded in our bedroom. And it was just sort of like, some of the songs don't finish.
Yeah.
Like they start, but then they don't finish. But they all seem really genuine and weird and lo-fi and have a nice mood. This is probably one of the more accomplished songs on the album, and it's quite a sad, sort of moody song, you know, with a sort of sparkle of hope and happiness and beauty in there, but it's quite a emotional, you know, nice, touching song.
Yeah. Well, before we wrap things up, looking into 2022, hopefully there'll be plenty of sparkles of beauty and connection and a kind of hopefully an end to all of the madness that's been happening for the last couple of years. What are you looking forward to next year personally, Scott, and what's going to be happening professionally?
I'll start with professional. There's a fine line between the two, to be honest. It's hard to separate them. You know, if I go on tour, it's like I basically go and hang out with my friends I've had for 30 years or 20 years. So I think this is possibly, I don't know when this is going out, but this is probably exclusive news, this.
Oh.
We did a festival 3 years ago, I think it was. About 3 years ago, near Sellafield. In a beautiful bit of the Lake District. It was called Cranken House, and we're doing our second one in August 22. And it's good. We had like Steve Davis, Snapped Ankles, Hannah Peel. I don't know. We had loads of good people playing, and it was fun in a weird cowshed. It's going to be slightly upgraded, but at the same place. It's in a cowshed, but also next to a very fine castle.
Lovely.
You can go on a steam train or see some birds of prey or something, so straddling that line. We've got an album out, which is it's been quite a while this time, so it feels quite special. I think we've done something good. And personally, I don't know. I mean, yes, like everyone and like you just said, really. I mean, I'm hoping you can go back to normal a bit, maybe.
Yeah.
And stop worrying about everything being cancelled and should I put my mask on and
absolutely,
or worrying about people
and
hard times we're having. It's not it's not very original, but there's not been much else to look forward to. Maybe a holiday.
Wonderful. If people want to find out about the festival, about the album, about gigs, where's the best place for people to keep up to speed with what you're doing?
Probably just, the festival, I don't know, because it hasn't actually been announced in any way yet.
Okay.
But the tickets won't be on sale till next year. Yes, I don't know, our website, I think I don't even know what our website is. cparband.com, I think it is now.
Okay. Yeah. I'll put the link to that in the bio to this podcast so people can go and explore it if they haven't done already. Scott, it's been a proper joy talking records with you, mate.
Thank you, Stu.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, Scott. Cheers, mate.
Anytime. Cheers, mate.
Right, let me press stop on there.